Okay, so we have a stock Vanquish transmission here, and we are going to be installing the 6% lockout inside of it. So the tools you're going to need are basically a 1.5, a 2.0, and a 2.5, and then you're going to need some grease. That's basically all you're going to need to install this part. I'm going to get to tearing this bad boy apart, and we'll go from there. Now that we got the skid removed from the transmission, I'm going to pull these set screws out. Whoever had this before, looks like they didn't utilize the transmission to its fullest potential. Gotta remove the whole back half. That requires taking off all the shift lever housings. It's a lot of screws, boys. But this is super simple build. All you gotta do is basically take the trans apart if you have an existing one like this, or if you're building one brand new. It's a lot simpler because you don't have to take all of these screws out. I personally remove these shift housing cover with the boots. I use a servo mount that bolts on to this same pattern here and allows me to hang a servo off of this. Also, I feel like it's unnecessary. I don't do a lot of mud bogging, so I don't need it. I'm also in the transmission a fair amount, and I don't play in too much of the dirt, so I'm not worried about stuff getting inside. Like I said, I'm always inside the transmission, so we're always making sure it's clean inside there. I've had the original prototype 3D printed part in my buggy build for almost a year now, and that thing with the machine gears and everything is like, it's mint inside, and I beat on it pretty good. So this looks like they use the Vanquish grease, which I'm not a huge fan of just because it doesn't have a lot of like it's not sticky. I don't know how to explain it, but if you were to touch the grease, it doesn't string off as to where you touch some grease like this. Look how much this grease like sticks to itself, constantly lubricates. So that's the fun part, just cleaning these bad boys off. But we're gonna remove the shift levers. Oh yeah, baby. Put all the gross parts on the rag. Remove this last screw. Remove this last screw holding the housing together. And I personally like to hold the transmission up like this. Give her a little tap. We'll push the output, hopefully, through the bearing. Oh, she's stuck. Sometimes the output gets wallowed out by the pin and it doesn't like to smoothly slide back through that bearing. So now we have our gears are all still intact. except for the rear drive shaft, obviously. I'm going to try to set this here. Now we need to take our 2.0 mil and pull out the lockout for the rear. I'm going to go ahead and clean all of this up, and then I'll come back. Okay, now that we got the trans disassembled and finally cleaned up, this one's kind of a little bonus. This thing came with the aluminum motor plate, standoffs, the machine gears. I should open this thing up and see what's inside there. See if it came with the lightweight gear set. I gotta remember to talk. It's better for me to chat here and just think about what's going. I guess say what's going on my mind than to quietly undo all of these screws in silence. I don't know. I have a hard time deciding like which part of the video do you keep. Do you try to leave it as an all-in-one shot to show the real time on installing this? Or do you jump cut? Oh, standard gear set. Dang it. Oh well. But we got the aluminum retainers, both sides, and the machine gears, so this is pretty cool. So this is how your thing's gonna come. So literally this is how easy it is. You're just gonna remove the two screws holding the dig unit in, pop that out. This retainer is now free. Oh, we just ejected the gears. I'm gonna set this lever right here. Get it to balance, maybe. Come on now. Okay, so this guy right here is getting replaced with this unit. This is the 6% lockout. This is how you would replace. This is how you install it. For the 46%, it's different because you're going to be removing a different gear. But anyway, we're going to steal the bearings out of this retainer, and then we are also going to remove this top gear, the smaller one on the front shaft. We are also going to remove the bearings, and all you need is one of them, because we are going to take one of the bearings from this gear. Now this gear is now useless to us. We're going to put the bearing in here. I modeled in the bearing here just to give the shaft way more support. If you look, Vanquish doesn't actually have that modeled in theirs, so we'll see what happens. But I need to make a little slight modification to the hole sizes here. They're just ever so slightly. So I take a little bit of grease. I mean, I do this with the Vanquishes anyway, just because this makes it the install so much easier. I take a little bit of grease and I put it inside of the holes. Then I take the bearings out of that retainer and I install them into this retainer. And the grease really helps the bearings just stay right where I need them. No flipping, no flopping. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to wipe my hands off really quickly. Take the back housing and insert the dig unit all the way into the back of the housing to where it's flush. Then we are going to take our rear lockout piece and install that back with our 2mm flathead screws. You can use thread lock, it's not necessary in my opinion. Now that that's installed and that we have removed this top gear, we are literally ready to install the transmission back together. And it's literally that simple. So usually you would grease your gears up, and then to install the transmission, like I said, I like to have the gears standing up, and then I take the back housing and then I just kind of wiggle it on, and boom, put all your screws back together and then shift levers, and now you have a functional dig unit with dual dig. It's literally that simple. The part is literally drop in. There's nothing that you need to add or replace it for this modification. It's literally drop in. Now if I could get the dig unit. Alright, now we should have a functioning dig unit. So when we spin the transmission, the front drive shaft moves, but the back is locked. Then the back is now moving. Now we stop the front drive shaft, and the back is moving. Now they're both stopped. We're in neutral. Rear's engaged, front's engaged. It's literally that simple to install this dig part. It took me longer to take the transmission apart and clean it and put it back together than it did to install the gear, the lockout. Literally all you do is remove the bearings and the retainer, remove one bearing from the gear and the gear itself, and then all of the bearings, and then put them inside the lockout, and you're done. If you guys have any other comments, questions, concerns, let me know. I'd like to see what you guys are putting these in, what you guys are using them for. Which one you prefer, the 6% or the 46%? I used to like the 46%, but nowadays I'm a 6% guy. It's just more versatile. Overall, more well-rounded. Plus, you get like a retainer as well as a lockout, so you don't have to spend the money on 2 retainers. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the video.